Good afternoon, everyone. Today is 7 October, the year 2005. I'm Dr. Dave Thompson, a volunteer at the Palm Springs Air Museum here in California. Part of our mission is to record and preserve the history of our country's military conflicts, especially World War II. As part of the Veterans History Project of the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., we conduct interviews of veterans and civilians who participated in those conflicts. Today I'm here at the museum along with fellow volunteer John Duncan and special guests, Mrs. Maisie Weathers, Mrs. Diane Alstrom, Bjorn Alstrom, and Bob Garofalo. Today we have the honor and the privilege of interviewing Staff Sergeant Peter Weathers. Sergeant Weathers was a paratrooper in the 82nd and the 17th Airborne during World War II in Europe. So we're going to talk to him about that and a lot of other things. Nice to have you here, Sergeant.
All right.
Okay. Now, would you please repeat and spell your full name for us, please?
What?
Spell your full name for us, please.
Spell it?
Mm-hmm.
Peter, P-E-T-E-R-J Weathers, W-E-A-T-H-E-R-S.
And when and where were you born?
I was born in Newark, New Jersey.
And what year?
The year was 1915.
1915. And the date?
December 10th.
December 10th, 1915. And what was your father's name?
Michael.
And what did he do?
He worked for a public service electrical company.
And how did he end up in Newark? Or how did your ancestors settle there?
They came over from Poland about 1911.
Do you know what part of Poland or where they came from in Poland?
Most everybody came from Galicia.
In relation to Warsaw, where would that be?
Galicia is a part of Poland, Ukraine, where they had fighting all the time.
And I suppose they spoke Polish in your household, in your home?
No.
No.
We spoke English.
Did they know how to speak Polish?
Me?
No, I mean your parents.
Oh, yes. They were born in
Right.
Poland.
Okay. But they decided it would be best to teach the children just English right off the bat. Okay. And your mother, what was her name and her maiden name?
Sophie Sloma. S-L-O-M-A.
Did she come from the same place in Poland that your dad?
Right.
So were they married before they came over?
No.
But they knew each other there before
They met here in the United States.
Oh, they met in the United States. Oh, okay. In Newark?
Newark, New Jersey.
Okay. And did you have any brothers and sisters?
Brothers and sisters, yes, we did. There was 7 of us in the family.
There were, I'm sorry, what?
7
children
in the family. I was the oldest boy. I had an older sister, Mary. A younger one was Stella. Another one, Eleanor. And another one was named Helena. I also have a brother named Leo and another one named William.
Okay, so you were the oldest of the kids.
Oldest of the
boys. Big boys. Yeah. Do you remember what the house that you grew up in Newark? Do you remember what street it was on?
Oh, Essex Street, Newark, New Jersey. It was right next to the ice depot.
Oh yeah.
Nice. At that time, there was no cars. Very few cars. There was ice wagons.
Yeah, I know. My grandfather, I remember he worked for the ice company in our hometown, and he was on the horse and drawn wagon and would carry those blocks of ice up and down the stairs.
Well, when I had a little problem with the ice wagon, because I used to run and get the ice to pick it up and steal it out of the bottom, get a small piece out of the bottom. It seemed that I jumped off the ice wagon and wasn't looking, and very few cars, but that would happen to be there to hit me.
Oh, wow.
And I was out of school for maybe about 3 months.
You didn't mind being out of school, but you didn't want to get out of school that way, probably.
I enjoyed it.
How old were you then?
I figured I must have been about, let's see, I was in the third year of school, so I must have been about 10 years old.
Break some bones?
No, the only thing I got was a mark on the side of my face, right here. That's it.
Did you have odd jobs when you were growing up? When you were going to school, did you work too?
Oh, odd jobs! I did them all. Which one you want to know?
Just all of us. Just start out and tell me some of them.
Shoe shining, selling pretzels. Let's see, all those jobs like that. Helped the guy in the coal yards bag the coal, because at that time you had to buy a bag of coal.
Right.
That's about it when I was growing up.
Did you like sports? What did your kids do for recreation?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah, I love baseball.
Who was your favorite team?
Oh, Newark Bears. Who else?
Of course.
The best minor league team in baseball.
Well, they were a Yankee farm club, weren't they?
They were. That's right.
Well, so no one. I mean, the Yankees.
So they
were
got all the good ball players in the Yankees. That's why they were the best minor league team in baseball.
Sure. Where was the park?
Well, the park was in Newark, but they say about 2 or 3 miles from where I lived.
Did you go to a lot of games?
Oh, but every weekend.
Did they have a knothole gang that they call for kids?
No, at that time, you paid to get in. No such thing as knothole.
Yeah. So, and what grade school did you go to? Grammar school. Your grammar school. What grammar school did you go to?
Oh, St. Aloysius for 4 years.
Okay.
Those 4 years was what you call my education, because they taught you everything.
The nuns?
Or else you had bad knuckles.
I know. I went to Catholic grade school and high school
Yeah,
myself.
they make sure you learned. If you don't learn, you got the little cane across your knuckles.
And I suppose the school was where the church was, your parish church,
Yeah.
St. Aloysius. Yeah. How far was that from you?
When I got married?
No. When you were a kid.
Oh, yeah, we went to St. Aloysius.
Okay. How far was that from where you lived?
Oh, that was about 1 block.
Yeah.
Right down the street.
Yeah.
That's where I got my education.
Do you remember what order those nuns were?
No,
Okay.
a long time ago.
But you went there 4 years. Then did you start to go into public school after that?
Yeah, then we went to Robert Street, and, you name them. My father liked to move.
Oh, in the Newark area, all around?
Newark area, always the Newark area.
Yeah. Where'd you go to high school then?
Central High.
Did you play sports? Did you play baseball there in high school?
I was a little small guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't built for that yet. I didn't start my sport till later on.
So you probably grew up during at least part of the Depression. What was that like for in your family? Did your dad, was he able, during the Depression, was that hard on your family? Was your dad able to work the whole time?
My father, he had a steady job. He worked for the utility company in New Jersey, and we lived pretty good. Not to say we lived the best, but we had food on the table.
Yeah. And so what year did you graduate from high school then?
Well, I went 3 years and I quit.
And then what did you do after you got out of high school?
Well, then before you know it, I worked in the bakeries and all that sort of stuff. And then before you know it, the war came.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Do you remember what you were doing on December 7th, 1941?
Oh, yeah.
What?
I was at the Paramount Theater in New York with my wife, Mary. I call her Macy.
Yes.
And we were watching Frank Sinatra on the stage, and we walked outside after the show was over, and the big thing on Times Square, you would see the pictures. They give you everything that's happened in the world. Pearl Harbor bombed.
Did you have any idea where Pearl Harbor was, or no?
I know where Pearl Harbor was.
Yeah.
I told you I went to school for 4 years in Catholic school,
Yeah,
and you got an education.
that's right. Were you surprised, or could you see the war coming at the time?
No, I knew the war was going to come. I said, well, that was it.
Yeah. Now, okay, and you saw Frank Sinatra in person on stage?
Why not? He and I were born the same day,
Is that
the
right?
same year.
In New Jersey, too, no less.
Yeah, and he lived in Hoboken.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we were born the same day, you know.
And the new Notre Dame football coach is from New Jersey also.
Oh, yeah, Notre Dame. I follow them all the time.
Yeah, me too. In fact, I'm going back to the 22nd to a game in South Bend.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Maisie here. Now, when did you meet? When did you guys meet?
When did I meet her?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, let's this
In
way.
fact,
Would you go over and sit next to him for a moment, please?
I can't even stand up.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. That'll be good.
Okay.
All right. So, when did you guys meet then? When did you meet? Or
Maisie
how
was
did it
my
come-
next door neighbor.
Oh, that made it
You
pretty.
see, I moved all the time, and she made the mistake of moving next door to me.
My mother and father were next
That's
door.
where-
Were next
that's
door.
where we met. We're married now, 62 years.
62 years. My mother and father were next door neighbors also.
You are?
much like you. Well, that's good.
Well, that's the way it was those years.
Yeah.
Nobody traveled too far.
Right. And Maisie, your mother and father, where did they come from? Your ancestors,
Ukraine.
the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they met in the Ukraine, but my mother didn't come here until a year later from there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember all the details now.
And what did your father do? And what was his name?
His name
Well,
was
they worked-
Andrew.
Jewelry place, right?
Yeah, Andrew Smith, Z-M-I-T-H.
Uh-huh.
And they
And
worked-
he always worked in jewelry.
Oh.
Then he
Yeah.
worked in Edison's too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Edison's.
Oh. Okay.
Uh,
So when did you get married?
we got married.
What year?
We got married while I was in the Army. Very interesting the way it happened. I decided I wanted to get married. But she doesn't say, forgot to tell her. So I told my, the commanding officer, and he has to go through him to get married in the Army. So what he did was make all the arrangements and got me a marriage certificate in Irvington, New Jersey. Then they informed her, you better come down. There's
Somebody.
to get the marriage license, and she don't know anything about it. Well, we know each other a long time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
So.
the wind-up is, that's how she found out that I was going to marry her at the time.
Oh, I didn't say yes right away.
You tell the story now, because I told you my part of it.
Yeah. Let's hear your version.
Well, he told me he was going to go into the Army, you know. So I told him, well, I don't think you should go because the war is the war, you know. How do I know where it's going to happen to you? He says, don't worry. I know all the answers.
So
Well, he did.
So the wind-up is, we got married. If you're interested, you can see if you don't believe me, in that little folder I got is a wedding picture.
Oh, well, we'll
I brought that over for you
well,
to
good.
look at.
What we'd like to do is the stuff that you have in there. We'll make, if you don't mind, we'll make copies and we'll put in your written record because we're
Right.
going to also write up this story too, and so we'll have all that information in there, but to be
Well,
great
anyway,
for people to see.
She found out we'd been married, and that was it.
Okay.
I got myself a 2-week vacation from the Army, and we got married.
And how many children did you all have then?
2.
Two. Okay. And
2
one-
girls.
Mhm.
No, she was the baby.
Diane and Sandy.
They look like they were just about as pretty as you.
Oh, even nicer.
Nice family. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I think we'll head back to the war part of it now. Do you want to stay there, or you want to come back over here?
Well, she can stay here.
Okay,
if she wants
if
to.
she's comfortable. You want to stay there? Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. That'd be good. Okay, so December 7th came. So did you right away think that you were going to go ahead and join up, or what?
Huh?
Did you decide you were going to? When did you join, or when did you go into the service?
May 24th, 1943.
Okay. And how, or what did you do in between 41
I was working
and 43?
for Wonder Bread or something, some bakery.
Uh-huh. And so did you get drafted then, or
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I didn't join. I got drafted.
Okay. And where did you go for your basic training first?
Huh?
Where did you go for your basic training? Where was the first place that you?
Camp Croft,
Where's,
Spartanburg, South Carolina.
what was that like?
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Were there a lot of New Jersey guys down there?
That was very nice. They didn't treat you like you were nothing.
And so where did you go from there?
Well, there I decided, I found out once you get into great basic training, and after 6 weeks you're finished with it, they ship you overseas to Africa. I said, well, I had a choice of going to some other part of the Army and stuff like that, and I picked out to go to the paratroopers.
Did you know anything about the paratroopers?
Didn't know anything about it. All I know is that you stayed in the United States a little longer, and you. See, when I was young, I wasn't scared. Nothing bothered me. I was only, I think, 10 years old, 12 years old. I went to an amusement park. Now, I don't know how to swim. I went on top of the board up there, and I dived into the water because I figured I could get to the other side without knowing how to swim. And that's exactly what I did. I dived in, and I rose right there and did a few strokes, and I got back over there. I don't worry about nothing. So going into the paratrooper had nothing to do with it. I was not scared of it.
Does this run in the family?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so where did you go for your paratrooper training then?
Fort Benning. That's the only place at that time that was doing it.
In Georgia?
Yeah, we were more or less one of the first group that went through it, you know.
Their physical training was pretty intense, was it not?
It was kind of a training where you had breakfast, and that's the last time you ate for the whole rest of the day because you had to lay down and go to sleep. You're tired.
Yeah. A lot of marching, a lot of stuff like
every
that.
place you went to, you had to run. Double time, all the time.
And did they train you like jumping off of a tower and things like that?
They give you a training. You go from a tower, a mock tower they call it, and you tried that and you jumped in that. And they'll finally where you come from the real high and you glide down and jump off.
And the parachutes were a lot different than what they have now, were they not?
Oh, definitely. The parachutes are, what you say, it wasn't very, very comfortable because they were big and round. You had no control of them.
Right, yeah.
But not like today.
Did they teach you how to land? How?
Oh, yes.
How would they tell you?
How do you land? When you hit the ground, you went the way your feet went. If you're falling forward, you fall. If you're falling sideways, you fall to the side or the back. Never got hurt. Never got hurt, except twice.
And how did you get hurt then?
Oh, one was a war bond jump in South Dakota where the wind was blowing 40 miles an hour and you should not be jumping. And they decided it's a war bond jump. We had to jump and the wind takes you and drags you right down to from one wire fence to the next one. But after a week, you get over it. You know.
Yeah.
And the second was when in England, we were at a night jump, and the pilot didn't take into consideration that there was a hill, a rise up there, and so instead of jumping at 400 feet, we were jumping maybe about 350 or lower. When I landed, the chute opened up, and I landed at the same time, and I had a sprained ankle and that for about a week. But that was it. But,
Do you remember your first jump out of an airplane?
yeah.
Was that at Benning?
Yeah, I told you. Nothing bothered me.
Did you have those static lines that you hooked up to?
Yeah, you hooked up there and you hook it up there and you go. You dive there, and the sensation is when you jump out of a plane and you're coming down, you don't know you're going down. You only know later on that the ground is coming straight up at you, like 5-10 miles an hour. It's coming up fast. That's when you know you're coming down.
Yeah. What altitude did you guys normally jump?
Oh, generally they only put us about 500, 600 feet tops. Mm-hmm. We always jump low.
Yeah. Any of the guys so afraid that they just wouldn't jump?
Oh, a lot of them were upset. A lot of streamers. There were a lot of times the chute didn't open properly. It was a streamer, and you had to open your.
Oh, yeah. You had like a pilot chute or something.
Yeah, you had another chute on it.
Yeah.
One guy, Alexander Sika, every time he jumped, he had a streamer. I don't know why, but he still kept jumping out of the plane. And
Did you guys pack your own chutes?
about one time. After that, they had a crew that did all the packing.
Did yours always open up? Did you ever have a streamer?
Mine always opened up.
So when did you find out you were going to Europe? They were going overseas.
When did I find out? That was in 1943, December. They shipped us east to go to New York for the embarkation.
So do you remember what kind of ship you went on when you went over?
Oh yeah, I remember it clearly. It was an English ship and filthy, you know. And they fed you like you didn't care, so they used to sell bread for $1. You know, $1 at that time was a lot of money. For $1, they would sell you a loaf of bread because they made extra bread there. And we lived on bread all the whole trip across.
Now, during the wintertime, the North Sea is usually pretty rough. Did you have a rough crossing?
No, surprisingly, it wasn't bad at all. Although I never got seasick.
And you were in a convoy. I guess the submarines were still a problem.
One of the biggest convoys going was at that time.
So where did you...
we landed in Liverpool, but they had no room for us in England, so they shipped us on a ferry across into Belfast, and from Belfast we went to Port Rush. Port Rush is the furthest you can get to in Ireland. That was a resort. They had room there because there's nobody lives there except in the summertime. They had all these little cubby holes that you slept in, you know.
And what outfit were you in then?
I was in the 507 Parachute Infantry, which is 1st Airborne Brigade. It really is, but I was in the 507.
Okay.
And we stayed there until they found room for us in Nottingham. So we got to Nottingham, and there they shipped us over there. They had our tents ready for us. Let's put it that way. The officers, they had a little better. They lived in the castle, which was on the ground there.
Robin Hood country there.
Right. Robert, I was in the forest over there. But,
Sherwood Forest.
Yeah, it's a nice little town, but
So, what did you train there, or what did you guys do?
We trained there every time, all the time. That's why we used to go to the airport and make jumps. And then
In the countryside, you did
Then
jump?
they decided that we were going to go down, and they decided we're going to go into the 82nd Airborne. The 503 or something like that was decimated in Italy. They had to have a replacement, and we were the replacement, 507.
Was Gavin the head of the 82nd?
Yeah.
Was he at the time
That's
that
right,
you went
at
in?
that time, he was in charge of it, yeah.
Right, okay.
So we wound up with the 82nd Airborne.
And where?
I knew we were going to go someplace when they decided to take us out of Nottingham. They shipped us down to Southampton,
Southampton, yes.
England.
Mhm.
They put us in Tidworth Barracks.
And did you know that you were training for D-Day?
Oh yes, that's what the whole. We were drilled in that we were going to jump into Normandy. That we don't know when, we don't know how, or where, but we know that.
So tell me the last 2 or 3 days, what was going on before the invasion?
Oh, it's a big hustle and bustle and everything else. But before that, I'm sitting in my tent over there. I was in a company headquarters more or less because I was at that time I was the corporal communications officer. You know, who comes walking in but my brother? My brother I'd been shipped overseas in the artillery years, and he found out where we're going to be, and I seen my brother before I was going to jump overseas. Yeah, it was very, very pleasant.
That's nice, yeah.
So it was very busy, a lot of hustle and tussle. We know something's going to happen, and then all of a sudden
But the weather.
they don't tell you nothing. The weather was very bad the day we were supposed to jump. The day before, you know, it wasn't June 6th. It was supposed to be June 5th, but it was so windy and cold and bitter and everything else. But we still went to the jumping area of the park at the airport and waited, and they decided we're going to make the jump because otherwise we'd have to wait about another month, and then all the surprise would have gone.
And did you go to C-47?
C-47.
Okay, I'm going to give you this pencil here for a second. Now, grab hold of that
Yeah.
for a moment. Now, there's a couple of C-47. Now, they're pulling a glider, so we don't necessarily need to talk about the
glider's right
glider. But I know
Yeah.
that you guys went with the glider, those
Right.
same guys. But let's concentrate on the.
Well, the plane would be on this side, right here. Where we jumped out of that, right there.
Right there. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how many guys would be? How many men would be usually would jump?
The whole platoon. A platoon of men would be on that there. But I was on the Pathfinders.
Okay, yeah, here I'll take it.
See,
Okay, tell me about the Pathfinders.
Pathfinders were specially trained for the radar. Now, when they jumped, you jumped with a radar machine, which was about 75 pounds.
Oh.
You jumped it on you. You also had a landmine on you, and your rifle, and your ammunition, and your food, and your blankets. You know, all that stuff. You jumped with everything. So I would figure I was close to 300 pounds when I jumped. I had a lot of weight.
Okay, the radar that you had, the purpose of that was?
To set it, and they would send a signal to the planes coming in with the regular troops coming in.
So they know where to drop
They
them.
were coming to drop. We must have done something wrong, right? Because most of my company all jumped and were in the same area where they're supposed to be. Not like when you see it on TV, they're spread all over the place.
Now, did those guys? Did they have Pathfinders also? I mean,
Yeah, they all have.
So-
Every outfit had Pathfinders.
yeah. Of course, if the Pathfinder lands in the wrong spot, then it's
They
trouble,
might have
right?
landed in the wrong spot, and they put the signal on, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But I happened to land on a tree. See, I was very fortunate, and I landed on a tree. It's not that I was too high. In other words, I wasn't too high off the ground, too high, but the point was when I landed in a tree, it pulled all my everything tight, and I could not get out.
Oh.
I couldn't get out of the chute because of the fact that everything was tight. So I dug it for it, and I got my knife I had there, and I kept sawing away and sawing away and sawing away until I finally got the riser to break, and then the chute get off, and I just glided, went right down into the ground. I went down. I didn't get hurt or nothing like that jumping onto the ground.
And how many in a platoon? You said you had a platoon of guys on the. So how many people we
Oh
talking?
no, the plane I jumped on, was only a few people. They were the ones with the.
You were all Pathfinders.
Right.
Okay.
There were very few people.
And
on
you
it.
jumped at different. You didn't all jump out the same place.
Right.
You jumped at different.
In other words, I
spots.
jumped and the other guy come in, then he jumped someplace else and all that. Everybody wasn't together because we were jumping before the main troop.
Right. So what time was that when you jumped?
Well, it just about got dark.
Oh, that's not
Just
early,
about
huh?
got dark. So it must have been about 11 o'clock at night of the previous day. In
So
other words,
it wasn't completely dark when you jumped. You mean?
oh yeah, it was dark.
It was dark.
It was dark.
Yeah.
In other words,
But it hadn't been dark.
dark at about 9 o'clock it got dark, and then we took off as it got dark, and
And what sector did you jump in? Where did
Huh?
what sector did you jump in?
well, I jumped more towards the railroad. There was a railroad that was right through the middle of Normandy. On one side of the railroad was I found out later, was a open area with all water. It was flooded by the Germans, and then there they put all the pylons in between it, so that these things over here coming in, when they landed, they hit them, and it's only plywood. They were only made out of plywood, and they just crumbled up.
How far inland were you from the beach?
I figured I was far enough inland, I didn't hear anything happening, and they say, the coastline.
Right. Okay.
So I didn't hear any of that, no firing. In fact, when I landed, it was so quiet. I can't believe I was in a war, because they don't expect us, because they thought we were dummies that they threw out to draw fire.
Yeah.
So there was not too much action going yet.
I was over in Normandy last fall, and Saint Mary Église? Do you know that little town?
St. Mary Église, we're about 2 miles from them.
That's where you were. That's what I was wondering. So
That's
in
it.
relationship. Yeah.
We were not too far away from there. We're on the same angle.
And so then you saw no signs of Germans or anything where you were?
When I landed over there, there was firing out there, and I went the other way to the woods. But then I can't see nothing, so I had to sit there and wait until somebody comes by. And I just sat there until it was starting to get light.
Had you turned your radar stuff on?
Well, all the stuff you let everything go. I don't have the radar because that's only good for one use. You push the button, that's it.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
That's all.
So,
And the mine, you take that with you and your arm, your rifle and stuff. And they gave everybody a cricket. See where you and so it happens to be just about then somebody coming through and he hit the cricket, and I did the same thing, and there was 2 of us, and before you know it was 4 of us, before you know it was 10 of us.
those were guys from your group that had honed in, or was this
They were
another?
paratroopers. They
Yeah.
weren't all the same.
Oh, okay.
We weren't the same.
I see.
So there was only 2 ways to go. Either go one way on the railroad or the other. We went the other way, and we get down to a little town. That's where the railroad goes into where all the water was. So actually, that tanks couldn't go there. And we went down there, and we get down the end over there, and what do I see there? I see 5 generals down there. They had jumped. Gavin and all the other rest of the group were all there, ready, and we joined his group to be as the fire guards for for the so the tanks can't come through. Because if you put a landmine on, you gotta have firepower to cover it so they can't come out of the and take it away.
Now you're
We stayed with them for maybe 2 hours until their own men found in there, and they got their own men for their guard and the whole group, and then we were released to go where we are, and we searched, and I found my whole company all together in a whole bunch. They all came down real nice, and we.
So a paratrooper is basically an infantryman who just is dropped, and then you become a ground fighter.
Right. Your basic thing is to drop down there, get together, and start doing what you think. You're supposed to put down a landmine and cover the landmines so that the tanks can't come through.
Right. Yeah.
And we did what we're supposed to do.
And you would put these on roads, the mine? You would put it like on a dirt road or something, your mine?
The railroad.
Oh, on the railroad.
The railroad is right there.
Okay.
There's a railroad right there.
So if
The only way the tanks they could get through, they would have to go on the railroad to get through, because they fought at the one side of the, so they couldn't come that way, and the other side. So our job was to keep them from going to the ocean to stop, with the invasion was with the land, with the infantry coming in.
after, so you didn't get any firefights at that point?
At that point, no. Like I told you, they were so surprised, and this was at nighttime, and so everybody was trying to get a position. So then we started get together, and
Did you get into the hedgerows pretty soon?
oh, the hedgerows! My God, I'm so happy we had the hedgerows. They finally got the tanks coming through, and they had the 88s on them. And now the 88s were firing at the hedgerows, but you couldn't go through the hedgerow. All it was going was shooting above the hedgerows, and if you put your hand up, you lost your hand. And I was there as low as I could get.
Yeah.
And then we had the bazookas and everything else that the guys were out there. They get a hold of them, fire at the.
Could you knock out a tank with a bazooka?
No, I wasn't in the bazooka group, but we had knocked out tanks that were.
I mean, bazookas
got through. That's right.
Could do
They
that.
had their bazookas, and they knocked them out.
Yeah.
But what experience of the 88 firing at you like it was a rifle.
Wow.
Instead of being going that way, it was firing straight at you like that.
I've talked to some guys that were in those hedgerows and said, they were so thick there could be German just on
They
the
were
other
very,
side,
very
right
thick.
on the other side of the hedgerow, and you wouldn't even know it.
You couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
We finally got together. Then our job, the first dead person, I didn't even see the first dead thing I seen was a cow in the field, and those things they blew up like a balloon.
So, how long did it take you to get through the hedgerows? How long did it take to get through all those hedgerows?
Well, we were there quite a while because we had to fight our way all the way into St. Lo.
Right. Yeah.
I went in St. Lo. It was where you all of a sudden no more hedgerows. It's an open field, and you go, and that's the part where you spread out and you go. That's where I got wounded in the shoulder.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I thought I was in a nice, safe place. The Germans built a nice fortress down the bottom over there. I got into it. But somehow or other, that all those shells flying there around, that piece of shell came and got me in the shoulder.
Oh. Yeah.
But then everybody panics, so everybody's giving you the drug and the morphine and everything else. I don't remember one thing from the time I got hit till I was in England. Getting the medical was working on me.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. I don't remember one thing from all that time on. They kept on putting morphine into you.
Did you bleed a lot? Did you lose a lot of blood from that? Did you bleed a lot?
No, not really, because what it did was scoop out the skin. And in other words, it was blood, but
Did they have to dig it out? Was it?
no. What happened was it went in and it scooped it right out.
That's it, yeah.
So I was very fortunate there. I was on duty. After 3 weeks later, I was back with the company, so my same company,
Right in
on
St.
duty again.
in the St. Louis area.
Well, that time I found out I wasn't in the 82nd anymore. I was in the 17th Airborne because the 503 was ready to go back in the 82nd, and the 507th was going back where they started from. So they put the 507 into the 17th Airborne.
Okay.
So I was on 17th Airborne instead of the 2nd.
So, with the same company and everything, or do
All
you
the
had
same company, the same officers,
so you said,
all
okay.
the same help. All I do is make a change on a piece of paper. You're 17th Airborne.
Okay, so then you're chasing the Germans after this. Now you're going across France after the Germans.
We're all back in England already.
Right.
July,
Okay.
I got hit on July 4th, and 2 days later, my whole outfit went back to England.
Oh, okay. All right. So
They're
that's where you
spending too
joined
much
them.
money giving us training for us to be foot soldiers. Our job was to,
Right.
for the next operation, we were fortunate when we were out of 82nd because they went up to the Holland and everything else.
Right. Zon,
So we stayed there, and we were moved back down to the southern part of England, for training. And we stayed there, and on Christmas time, I wound up in a hospital because I got, cold, I got something there.
Like
So they
pneumonia?
put me in a hospital to cure me. Well, they didn't wait for to cure me too long because the Battle of the Bulge started. They dragged my can out of the hospital. You're on your way to France. So we went over to France. They put us in a French place. They had these small little places, no heat, oh, that's good. Then they put us on trucks, and we went up to Namur, France, and that's where Belgium comes into there, Namur. And from there, forget about going on trucks. We started walking. We walked over the whole part of Belgium.
Near Bastogne? Did you get near Bastogne?
Well, we're Bastogne, yeah. We got to Bastogne, but they had it pretty well under control over
by the
there.
time we got there,
We were in there, and then Bastogne, and we went to Luxembourg. Then there's the Siegfried line. Take it, with your rifle. Oh, you got to be kidding. He says, you mean fronted with all those guns pointing at us there? I says, we can go around that damn thing. You can. But Patton was in charge at that time, and he's gun-ho. You go take it. But they seen the light that we don't have to hit it frontal. You go around it. And when you're surrounded over there, they couldn't get any supplies and nothing else, so they do it all without getting anybody killed. That's what my battalion commander, he took care of that little deal.
It was pretty cold winter around that time. What was that like?
It's the coldest winter I ever spent. Everything was all snow, and you couldn't take your clothes off. You couldn't. You got to sleep outside, So naturally, you have 3 or 4 guys all sleeping together. That's the only way you can keep warm. And you don't take your shoes off, or you will never get them back on again. So we let the shoes stay on. And we finally got to Bastogne and area, and then they had it pretty well under control because the Third Army came up and the Germans took off, so that we wanted to like I said, we went to Luxembourg and then around that. And then after that, they shipped us back into France, Chalon-sur-Marne. We went into France, and that's where we're stationed at, waiting for what we got to do. And the next thing we had to do was jump over into Germany. So we made the jump into Germany, and
when was that? When did you jump into Germany?
oh, that was in 45 already.
Right.
Yeah, that was in 45.
And where did you make the jump?
I don't know the name of the town, but it's right over the Rhine. And let's put it this way: all they had there was old men and young kids. The rest of the army, they didn't have any more. Our job was to tell them, look, get lost, huh? You know, we don't want to kill you, because they're like 12, 14 years old. Or else they're old men already, they're 70, 80 years old. They had no army left there. They were finished. And we just went right through there into all those all these little towns they had, all the towns they had there. And
So there basically wasn't any resistance as you were
the
jumping?
resistance, not like you had in the, no.
No, okay.
That was a day jump. We just jumped right in there, and there's no problem. Very few spots they had resistance, a lot of resistance. But where I landed, I didn't even hear a rifle go off, because they didn't have any soldiers left. And we wound up in Essen. Essen area, Verden.
Did you see any of the concentration camps when you were in Germany?
No, I didn't go that far. See, I went to Verden. Verden, they had the displaced persons. Now their job, they told us we have to guard them because they got to ship them people back to Russia, and they want no part of going back to Russia because they're going to get killed. So the guard of them was like lackadaisical. If you got away, walked away someplace, nobody's chasing you. And a lot of people didn't have to go back to Russia.
Yeah. Did you see any Russian soldiers? Did you ever? Did you see in Germany? We weren't in that area.
That was my last spot, in Germany. You know. But.
So is that where you were on VE Day?
Oh yeah, Verden, Germany. There, it happens to be in Verden, Germany. The mayor was at one time lived on the street I lived on in Irvington, New Jersey.
Really?
After I got married,
Oh, yeah.
he lived down the beginning of Union Avenue, and I lived maybe 2 blocks away. But he had gone back there when they knew there was going to be war going, because he got to fight for his Führer. Right, but he was the mayor of that town, and he lived down 2 blocks away from me at the. You'll figure it out. I never could figure it out, but that's what happened. He says, "Oh yeah, I lived on Union Avenue in Irvington, New Jersey." Well, I can't believe it. So that's what happened there.
Yeah. So how soon did they send you back to the States?
Well, they had to wait for they had a thing, a point system. You know, you got so many points if you're wounded, so long in the army and everything else, and everybody's maneuvered how I got to go back to the States instead of going to Germany, to Japan to fight, because they're ready to send troops over to fight in Japan. And as they're doing that, we're laying there, and no, they sent us back to France, you know. We didn't stay there. We went back to France, and that's where we waited for us to decide who's going where and what, everything else. And then all of a sudden, the war's over. They dropped the atomic bomb on Germany. Everybody's going back home.
So did you get another nice ship?
Well, the best part of it all, when I was in what you call it, in France, before I jumped over, Well, it seems like everybody likes to make cars and crap and everything else. And they had a trip going down to the French Riviera. Well, I'm the only guy who won the money in the thing. I'm the only guy who had money. I went to the French Riviera for a 3-day pass. 3-day pass. Well, the airport, they get down there and they say, well, we can't go back because they got storms over the Alps. I was down there for 3 weeks. Then we get back. And we got ready to make the jump into, what do you call it? Germany.
Germany. Oh.
Yeah, it was a little past, but
Oh, that was
all cure things. They all could happen to me. I don't know why, all these square things. But anyway,
Good thing it was.
when you run out of money, well, you just take your uniform, sell it to the natives, and go on and get another uniform for free for yourself. So you got to have money to live on.
Yeah.
So
Those Jersey guys are pretty smart, aren't they?
the army, it's the army.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what happened there. And we finally get back on a Susan B. Anthony. I remember that boat. The Susan B. Anthony wasn't a very big boat, but it was a nice. It wasn't a bad of a trip.
Did you come into New York?
No, I came into what do you call it, Massachusetts. Then they put us in a trip down to Fort Benning, and Fort Benning there I got discharged from the army.
Okay. I'm going to switch tape here. This might be a good time to do that real quick. Everybody doing okay?
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Let some air in there. Just get it.
I figured it was a little bit stuff in there.
Well, all right. So you got back, and so did they discharge you right away then, pretty much?
Oh, they couldn't wait to get rid of us. The war was over.
And so what did you do then when you came back home?
I went to school for TV and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Now, but you guys had been married before you went into the service, right?
Oh yeah, we're married.
So, but once you went over to Europe, how long were you there before you came back home then?
Oh, let's see. I went there. I landed there in '43 December, and came back in September of '45. So close to 2 years I was overseas.
Yeah, right. So you guys are glad to see each other again, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're glad that we got home.
So, did you get a job right away then when you came back, or what? Or you went to school?
Oh yeah, I
did you
got
say?
a part-time job in the post office, and I was going to school at the same time.
Where were you going to school?
TV and radio and TV training and all that.
Did you follow through with that?
No, I went to the post office, and I kind of liked it there. So I got there, and then I took the exam, and you get credit for being in the Army and all that. And then,
So did you deliver, did you have a route?
oh yeah, I did pretty good there. I didn't deliver, no. I worked inside.
Oh, you did?
I worked inside, and
And how much was a stamp for a letter then, those days?
which one?
How much was a stamp? How much do you pay for a
Oh,
stamp?
I think about 3 cents.
That's what I think.
Stamp. What's a 3 cent stamp?
And why do we have to pay 37 cents now?
Yeah, that's right. Why? Well, anyway, I wound up staying in there, and I got graduated. I had 37 years service in the post office.
Oh, maybe that's why we pay 37 cents for a stamp now.
Well, that's why everybody's paying $3 for a gallon of gasoline too.
I know. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you got for stamps are pretty cheap compared to other countries. You know.
So how many, you were 37 years at the
Yeah,
post office?
37 years, and I retired in February 29th, 1979.
And what did you do after that?
Nothing. I didn't. That was it. I never worked a day. I did a little part-timing, but I'm talking about work, you know.
And what did you do, or what do you still do for recreation? What did you like to do to
Oh, I
keep
like
busy?
sports. I like walking. It didn't bother me I wasn't working anymore. In fact, I didn't have to retire until later. I was only 63 when I retired. I worked myself. I was an officer in the post office, you know. So I made pretty good money, and
Well, it's
and
like retirement.
I found out that they give you a cost of living when you're retired from the federal service. So I decided I wouldn't make it 1963. I'm going to be 63. I retired then because they're getting 4 and 5% on top of your retirement every time it was up, because the cost of living was going up so fast there. The prices were going up. So I did it. I live pretty good now.
And do you live here in the desert now?
Sun City.
Sun City. And when did you come to the desert? What brought you to the desert?
My daughter.
Uh-huh.
My daughter. She lived in the desert, and she said, "Oh, you have to go. You have to be in the desert too." So that's how I wound up in the desert.
And when did you come here then?
Huh?
When did you all come here?
Let's see. 2002.
Yeah, about 3 years.
Well, 3 was the end of 2.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't you?
2002. Yeah, it was 2002.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so this is.
Okay, Diane.
I have another daughter.
Yeah.
She's the youngest one.
The youngest
I can't
one.
tell you her age. She got to tell you herself.
We don't have to do
We
that.
don't.
Diane Alstrom.
Hi, Diane.
And they moved here about 3 years ago. We were living in Manhattan then and coming out part-time, and then he got diagnosed that he had some kidney problems. So I said, just pack it up. You got 3 days, and you're moving out. And they stayed at a house that I have in La Quinta until he got better, and then they moved into Sun City. So they're here since, and
We have a lot of friends at Sun City. A lot of our volunteers here live over there, and it's really a nice spot. Just about anything you want to do, they got over there for you, right?
yeah.
I say Sun City is really a nice place. Or you can do about anything you want to do.
Can't
They've
believe
got.
it. Move up there. It's real nice.
May do that one
Should
of these
have
days.
moved up there when they're building yet, instead of waiting for the price to go up after they build.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Diane, do you want to add anything else? Do you have any children, Diane?
No, I just have 2 poodles.
2 poodles. What about your other daughter? What about the other daughter? You got any grandkids?
My kid.
Yeah, 2
I have grandchildren.
2 boys.
2 boys. Where do they live?
Colorado.
Uh-huh.
But my younger nephew is in school at San Luis Obispo, and the older one
One
graduated.
goes to school in St. Louis Obispo here.
I just said that. And
Yeah.
then the other one is just graduated from the University of Denver about a year
Oh.
ago, and he works for Rock Resorts.
For what?
Rock Resorts.
What's that?
Hotels, so they own the lodge at Rancho Mirage, those type.
Oh,
of
is that
places.
right?
Mhm.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. We could probably just about wrap it up. Do you have anything you want to add before we close here?
Well, I think I'm pretty well out of words now. I did a lot of talking.
Well, you did a great job. Yeah.
Well, I mean, tell it as it is.
Yeah. Now, who?
I think I give it in the Jersey accent too. You know?
Not as Jersey as some. Are the New York Bears still around?
No, New York Bears?
Yeah.
No, they're around as a semi-pro team. That's all.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Same way. I'm from Evansville, Indiana, and they had a Class B. It was Evansville Braves, and now they
Right.
kind of like just do a semi-pro
Yeah,
stuff.
the New York Bears is a semi-pro team now. They're not like it was.
Do you in the major league teams? Who do you follow?
Oh, I follow the Yankees, the Mets, the Boston Red Sox, the Angels,
Mm-hmm.
and the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I follow them all. Listen, I can name you all the things about them.
Yeah.
Ask a question, I can tell you all about them.
Yeah. Vin Scully, I enjoy listening to him.
She never watches baseball. She loves Vince Scully.
Yeah.
He tells you every story there is in a book.
I know.
She keeps telling you, and he's the only guy on the TV when he's on at home. He's on by himself. He's got to do all the talking. He tells you everything about every ball player, where he goes to the toilet, and everything else. He tells you everything.
He does, yeah. He's great. Well, thank you all for coming.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.